The Seattle Seahawks continue to get better and better with each passing week. After an impressive road win against the Patriots, the Seahawks would return home to face a Miami Dolphins team without Tua Tagovailoa. Still, Miami had 10 days to prepare for this game. Nevertheless, the Seahawks defense absolutely dominated Miami, and at the end of the day, Seattle would have a perfect 3-0 record and a 2-game lead in the NFC West. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And although it was the Seattle D that ruled the day, the offense got off to a red-hot start, so let's get right into it. We're going to pick things up on the opening drive of the game with the Seahawks in possession of the ball at the 45-yard line. Facing a 1st down and 10, they would start things off with a fake handoff to Zach Charbonnet. To help sell the fake, they pull the left guard. And look at how Geno is standing here. This almost looks like a read option. All these elements would combine to really draw in the defense. Realizing that this is a pass, they drop back into coverage, but the damage is already done. At the top of your screen, we can see DK Metcalf is going deep. The Dolphins have to respect that, so both the corner and the safety go with him. Underneath, we see JSN and Tyler Lockett running a scissors route. With Kader Kohou keeping an eye on Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Lockett would come open behind Kohou but in front of the safety. And Geno Smith would get him the football for an 18-yard pickup. Jalen Phillips does get a little bit of a push against the tight end before both would eventually go to the ground. Nevertheless, Geno Smith just seems so comfortable moving in the pocket this year. But I do think the timing of Geno's reads may have been disrupted. He takes a quick look at Zach Charbonnet, doesn't throw him the football, then he comes all the way over to JSN before finally spotting Tyler Lockett. At this point, the drive wouldn't go any further, so the Seahawks opt for a long field goal, and this is 56 yards away. You can tell how far away they are. They're at the logo. The kick is up, and it's good. 56 yards, and the Seahawks get on the board first and lead 3-0. So the Miami Dolphins get the ball, and they also have some modest success moving the ball to midfield. But here they're facing a key 3rd down and 1. And I can't tell you how much I love this play for the Seahawks defense. Because on 3rd and short, it's the defensive backs that come up and make the stop, with Rayshon Jenkins getting great penetration and Devin Witherspoon also getting in on the end of the play. This is team defense at its best. Jeff Wilson Jr. is stopped for no gain, and now the Dolphins have 4th and 1 at the 39. It's a 57-yard field goal from here, and they choose to take the field goal attempt, and I think this is a bit of a mistake. Why? The Seahawks just kicked a 56-yarder. Well, there's a couple of key differences here, so let's talk about them. Number one, the Dolphins are going in the other direction, and in a stadium like Seattle's, that makes a difference. They're kicking towards the open end of the stadium. It's the more difficult end to kick at, and there has not been a great record of kicking long field goals to that end of the stadium. Another important difference is when Seattle attempted their field goal, it was 4th and long. Here for Miami, it's 4th and short, so they have a little bit more flexibility. They could go for it if they wanted to here. I understand they don't want to punt from inside their own territory, and if you don't want to kick, towards the open end of the stadium, now you have the option, if you want to, of going for it on 4th down. And there's an added benefit. If you go for it on 4th down and don't get it, you actually have better field position, because if you kick and you don't get it, the ball moves back to the spot of the kick. Well, that's exactly what happens. So now the Seahawks have an outstanding opportunity to build on their lead with excellent field position. And Zach Charbonnet gashes the Dolphins on the ground. Let's go back to the snap. From this angle, we would get a great look at the vision and patience of Zach Charbonnet. He starts out heading straight for the sideline, but but the Dolphins' defense is committed to not giving up the edge. Charbonnet immediately recognizes this and gets ready to utilize the cutback lane. But Deshaun Hand moves over to fill the hole. The cutback is no longer an option. So again, Charbonnet shows great vision and patience, recognizing that the cutback is no longer an option and waiting for his blocks to set up before exploding through the hole. I said last week I wanted to see an improvement in the run game. Well, Charbonnet finishes with 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5.1 yards per carry. Moving along, the Seahawks would be facing a 2nd down and 7. And take a look at DK Metcalf. He's barely 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. Why? Well, he's such a powerful threat to go deep, defenses ordinarily give him a lot of space. The Seattle coaches take advantage of this because on 2nd down and 7, it's a great option just to get the ball into the hands of one of your best playmakers. Here, the Dolphins take that away when the defender closes. Now that's a little bit risky because DK could take off on you at any point. Unrelated to this, the Dolphins bust a coverage in the middle of the field, but Geno's never able to get to this read because the pass protection breaks down. Geno is going to be forced to scramble. And here we get a great look at the chemistry between Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. DK sees his quarterback scrambling and just goes, and quarterback and receiver are on the same page. Kendall Fuller scrambles to get back in position, and he has tight coverage on DK, but importantly here his back is turned, and Geno sees this and knows he can throw the football. And then DK makes a tremendous catch on the sideline. Very nice. Let's take a look at why the pass protection broke down. We can see Zach Sealer just straight up beats Laken Tomlinson, right when Zach Charbonnet happens to be glancing away, meaning he's unable to come help with pass protection. But Geno somehow senses this and gets the ball to DK, and that was pretty impressive. You saw how fast that happened in real time. And Seattle would cap off the drive with Zach Charbonnet. Touchdown Seahawks. And this play was made possible with some outstanding blocking. Watch Connor Williams snap this football, slide over to block Sealer, and then pick off our old friend Jordan Brooks. That's right, he snapped the football and then blocked 2 players on the same play. When Jordan Poyer runs over to fill the hole, Charbonnet again uses his vision and follows his blockers. One more really cool thing we're going to see from this angle, when Dolphins rookie defensive end Chop Robinson goes to disengage from his block, Charles Cross does an outstanding job of not holding on the play. This Seahawks team is well coached and they execute, and they lead 10-0. Again, the Dolphins would get the ball to midfield and would face a 3rd down and 5. Skylar Thompson is not ready for prime time, mishandling the snap. And here we would see the Seahawks rotate into a defense we looked at last week, leaving just 1 safety back deep but only rushing with 4. Putting a lot of defenders right at this line to gain. They're not going to give up an easy completion on 3rd down. This defense is going to be tough to play against. To make matters worse for the Dolphins, Draymond Jones gets off an excellent pass rush. Skylar Thompson is unable to step up in the pocket. Instead, he tries to go backwards, sack, fumble, and Seattle kills the Miami drive. Let's move ahead to the end of the first quarter. When DK Metcalf cuts to the inside, the safety breaks on the route, and then DK burns him with the double move. But Geno's going to have to get this ball way down the field here. He's standing on the 20, and it's caught at the 32, 48 yards in the air, and then DK runs away from the defense, which shows you how fast DK is. What do you need to throw the ball deep? Time. And from this angle, we see another nice little piece of Geno's quarterbacking. Look at him sticking his hands up there. He's calling for the snap. He knows they have a deep route called, and he's trying to get the Dolphins on a hard count. If you know you're going to take a deep shot, might as well make it a free play. Now, it doesn't work. The Dolphins don't go for the hard count, but I still like that the Seahawks made the attempt. They really seem to be mastering a lot of these little details this year. And how many times in the NFL have we seen a quarterback with a strong arm that seems to have no idea how to run the offense? Here, Geno's arm complements his quarterbacking skills. Moving ahead, the Seahawks would set up for a 52-yard field goal. But we're in the second quarter now, so now they're facing the other way. They're facing towards that open end of the stadium. And the kick is no good. Note that they were facing a 4th down and 9, so going for it wasn't an option here. But the Miami Dolphins do take over with excellent field position, desperately needing some points. And here Skylar Thompson does appear to have A-Chain open on the sideline. And he doesn't make the throw. For some reason, he turns this down. He just didn't like what he saw for some reason. And the pass rush gets home to Skylar Thompson. And someone please explain to me what on earth the Dolphins are doing with their pass protection here. They pull the left guard, but not to sell any kind of a run fake here. They don't even bother faking the handoff. I guess it's to help with pass protection. They try to block Derek Hall with a tight end, but he gets home before Jones can even come over to help. Skylar Thompson just compounds the issue by hesitating. And just like we talked about on this channel in week 1, you can't make mistakes like this against the Seattle defense. They make you pay. So the Dolphins make the bitter decision to punt from their own 39-yard line, and we would see another little detail here by the Seattle Seahawks, with the returner faking like he's going to catch this punt. In reality, it's going to go way over his head, but he doesn't want the coverage team to run down and down this football. He's trying to fool them. Again, it doesn't work, but I like that they made the attempt. Let's move ahead to the third quarter. And here we would see a rather innocent looking play. Here he takes kind of a run-of-the-mill hit. It seems to land awkwardly, and he's in a lot of pain, and he would have to leave this game. And this would essentially end any chances the Dolphins might have left in this game. Thompson was ultimately diagnosed with a rib injury. Unclear if it happened on that play or earlier in the game. He did take 5 sacks in this game. Alright, there's one more play I gotta show you guys. Zach Charbonnet to the house. Touchdown Seahawks, and they put the final nail in the coffin. And this was a misdirection play, with Geno Smith holding the ball to his right and Charbonnet taking a step in that direction before actually heading to his left. And here Charbonnet just runs to daylight. And I absolutely love what I'm seeing at the end here. Even at the end of a game that's gotten out of hand and away from the play, Brown is still blocking to the whistle. And Phillips gets a little frustrated here, but Brown's doing the right thing. This is how the game should be played. And there's your final score. The Seahawks win it 24-3. Mike McDaniel now 1-13 in his last 14 games against teams with a winning record. Wow, terrible for Miami. But for the Seattle Seahawks, they go 3-0. They've got a 2-game lead in the NFC West, and their defense is looking tremendous. You know, I saw this great tweet. Let me pull it up here. Because we've seen a lot of great defenses over the years, you know, fans of the Legion of Boom well know, but What about the Steel Curtain back in the 70s? Remember them? Check out this stat. Look at this. The Seahawks are the first team to start 3-0 and allow fewer than 150 passing yards in each game since the 1979 Steelers. Wow. I want to thank Dante for making their tweets publicly available. I'll put a link in the description. Please go support them. The coaches have done an outstanding job of coaching these players up, and the players are executing. Would you believe that out of all 32 NFL teams, which team do you think has the #1 grade right now in overall PFF grading? Which team do you think? It's the Seattle Seahawks, no joke. Now look, I understand that things aren't perfect, but the key here is that the team is continuing to improve. Yes, Geno Smith had a couple of interceptions, but both of those came off of tipped passes, so I'm not really too concerned by that. And check out this second one. It happened right at the goal line here. Case in point, the Seahawks defense held the Dolphins to 3 points, the only points they scored during the entire game. And let's compare the scoring from last season to this season. Last season, in the first 3 games, the Seahawks defense allowed 30 points, 31 points, and 27 points. This year, they've allowed 20, 20, and 3, the only 3 points that the Dolphins scored. Now, they've got a real tough test next week, going into Detroit on Monday Night Football. But as we talked about last week, Seattle beat Detroit in Detroit last season. They can definitely do it again. Don't think they can't. If they can pull that off, they will move to 4-0 and will have to be considered a serious contender. All right, I want to thank all my new subscribers. Last week, we picked up 23 new subscribers, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it here. And last week, 27 of you shared these videos. That really helps out the channel. I really appreciate that. So if you like what you're seeing here, please consider subscribing and share. Send these to your friends, post them in your favorite groups, whatever. It really helps me out. In fact, it takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could give me just 10 seconds and hit that like button on your way out, I would really appreciate it. As always, I want to thank those of you who have gone the extra mile to help support this channel. And I want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. You guys are an essential part of this team. Thank you so much for your support. You humble me, you honor me. I could not do these extensive breakdowns without your support. Thank you so much. All right, it's going to be the Seahawks at the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. What a game. I cannot wait to see it. I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but you know we are going to be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.